Here's another fun build inspiration for the Cosmere RPG. Old Faithful. This is a mid-game Envoy Support build for all scene types that hands out advantages like candy and gives your allies more focus than they could ever burn through. This build aims to do two main things: give out multiple advantages to your allies and provide all the focus. For the Cosmere RPG, you can gain multiple advantages for a single test. Each advantage lets you roll two dice of any die involved in the test and pick the better result. This is usually the test die, the damage die for an attack, and the plot die if you raise the stakes. Advantages also cancel out disadvantages, allowing you to make riskier moves more confidently. Stacking multiple advantages is more useful than it may initially seem. We're going to start out with the Singer Ancestry, which gives us change form and access to forms of wisdom, specifically mediation form, which lets us use the aid reaction without spending focus. We plan to use aid as much as possible, so this is fantastic. This build is mostly Envoy, but we're going to start out with a quick dip into Scholar to get the free skill rank in lore, along with erudition, boosting lore, and whatever else you'd like. We'll grab Strategize to let us use lore to gain advantage and pass it off to a friend. From here, we're going into Envoy at level 3, grabbing Rousing Presence, which lets us give an ally Determined, allowing them to add an opportunity to any test they fail. Then levels 4, 5, and 6, we pick up Practical Demonstration, which lets us use Rousing Presence as a free action when we gain advantage. Mighty, we mostly take to get to Guiding Oration, allowing us to give advantage to an ally when you gain advantage. With the talents from earlier, that means you're handing out 2 advantages and Rousing Presence from a single action. We're also using our reaction to aid, meaning we're supplying 3 advantages per round. Now let's teach our allies to focus. Focus is your cognitive resource that's a key cost of many abilities like reactive strike, dodging, or resisting enemy influence, as well as many path talents. The more builds I explore, the more I realize how many abilities spend it and how valuable having a focus healer will be. We'll use the bonus talent at level 6 to grab Sound Advice, which lets you spend a focus to use Rousing Presence as a reaction on an ally who failed the test. Quick sidebar here, I'm unsure if making Rousing Presence a reaction lets you break the rule about using an ability once per turn. We're discussing on Reddit, but I'll update in the description when I know for sure. 7 and 8, we're going to grab Lessons in Patience and Instill Confidence. When you use Rousing Presence, it'll restore 1 focus, and if you want, you can make your ally focused, which reduces all focus cost by 1 instead of Determined. This also gives you the flexibility to beneficially use Rousing Presence on the same ally twice. At 9, we'll grab Foresight for the extra reaction. Note that unlike actions, you can use the same reaction more than once per round, and using Aid twice is actually the example they give in the book. 10 and 11, we'll hop over to the Faithful Path and grab Galvanize to directly restore focus, but note it's only once per scene. Next, Applied Motivation. When you cause a character to restore focus, they recover additional focus equal to half your ranks in lore rounded up. This is why we grabbed lore earlier. At level 11, you normally have a max skill rank of 4, but erudition allows you to get that lore up to 5. Half rounded up means your allies restore an extra 3 focus on top of what you'd normally restore. Your Rousing Presence now restores 4 focus. Another cool aspect of this talent is that it says when you cause a character to recover focus, not an ally. Most of your tricks only help an ally, which can't benefit you, but this can. If your own focus is running low and you use the recover action, limited to once per scene, and apply this bonus to easily fill your own focus back up. This goes even harder when we use level 11's bonus talent to pick up Inspired Zeal. When an ally fails a test and uses their determined condition, your other allies can recover 1 focus, but 4 because of applied motivation. In a 4-player party, that means you rouse 1 ally, and when they use that determined condition, the other 2 recover 4 focus each. Think of it as banking focus for later, investing in your future. The more determined allies, the more focus you'll bank. I'll come back to this in a moment. But for now, let's recap. Level 11, we just hit tier 3. On our turn, we use 1 action to gain advantage with an erudition ability, probably lore. This lets us pass 2 advantages to our allies. It can be the same ally. We're then allowed to use Rousing Presence as a free action, which recovers 4 focus and makes the target either determined or focused. We've got 2 reactions to use aid for 2 more advantages or potentially Rousing Presence. And after all that, on a slow turn, you've still got 2 actions to galvanize, recover, or whatever else needs doing. Each round, you supply 4 advantages, 4 immediate focus, and 8 focus banked in the determined condition. There is an argument that all the advantages are counter-synergistic with Rousing Presence and Inspired Zeal, since your allies need to fail a test to make use of Determined, and the advantages make that less likely. I like to think of it as backup insurance, and as I mentioned earlier, the freedom to take greater risks and employ creative maneuvers. Without doing anything themselves, an ally can make a test with triple disadvantage and still end up net positive 1 advantage. And if they still fail, they get an opportunity, and everyone else's focus gets refilled to press the scene onward. From here, there are a couple options going forward. It's probably worth picking up Compose for the extra focus. Then you could go down the left half of the Faithful tree to give Rousing Presence the ability to remove all sorts of debuffs. Sage Counsel is also pretty great to spread Determined around with all the aiding we're doing. Between your usual Rousing and 2 aid reactions, you can give the whole party Determined each round if you need to. Do note that it only grants the benefits of Rousing Presence. It doesn't let you use it. So as I understand it, all the bonuses when you use Rousing Presence, the focus recovery, the focused condition, and the negative condition removal won't apply. Another cool way to spread Determined is to become a will shaper. After a few ideals, you can pick up Spiritual Cohesion. This lets you give a number of allies up to your ideal level a buffed up determined condition. At the 3rd ideal, you're buffing up your whole party for 2 actions. This also banks a whopping 24 focus behind determined conditions. And that's just tier 3. You could also go down the Diplomat tree for practiced oratory to spread Determined, although I prefer the two previous options. It just feels like Faithful offers better utility, and Radiance has a ton of other benefits on top of not costing focus to spread Determined. So that's my inspiration for Old Faithful. Let me know if you've got any ideas for this type of build, if I missed any must-have talents or expertises, if you caught any mistakes, or if you got any ideas for the next one. But for now, thanks for watching, and don't forget to enjoy the journey.